Welcome back, my friends, for another episode of Meske Un podcast. We are boogaless today, but we've got a great stand-in. Leah Binkin is in the house to join Pablo and myself. We'll be discussing the dropped points against Celta Vigo. We're going to get through that conversation because it's going to sting. But then we'll move on to a match preview for Brest in the Champions League. Barcelona taking on them on Tuesday. So we'll be talking about a starting 11. We'll get our predictions in. And of course, whatever comes up. If you love Barcelona banter, if you're into good football conversation, then you're in the right place. Meske Un podcast every Monday right here on the channel. Welcome, everyone. Leah, I'm turning to you first. How are we feeling about Barcelona after dropping points in consecutive weeks for the first time all season? First time under Flick. How are we feeling today?
I don't even know. I was angry yesterday, but then today I woke up and I was like, you know what? This is not even the worst. I feel like as a Barca fan, we've been through way worse. And obviously it sucks because
Yeah.
it feels like everything they did in October is kind of being wasted right now. But it's also you can't change what happened. I've kind of grown to have that mindset supporting Barca. So I know that this team could play better, and I know that this result will not affect them, hopefully, later on, based on what we've already seen from them.
Yeah, that's very optimistic, very centered, very zen of you, Leah. I appreciate you bringing that energy to the podcast. Pablo, how about you, sir? How you feeling?
Yeah, no, that's a good point from Leah. That's literally how I try and behave with Barca now, because this a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, would have really got to me, and that would have ruined my Sunday. But now I don't let it affect my personal life as much. But it's frustrating. Yeah, I completely agree. It sort of does override a lot of the work we did in October, getting so many important big wins to get a margin in La Liga. Well, that margin's gone. I know, obviously, Real Madrid have got their games to play. They'll win both of them comfortably. And yeah, that's really frustrating. Obviously, it is. And I think the Real Sociedad was annoying because I don't think we turned up, but they were the better team. Celta, I don't think we played well, but once you're 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go, it's inexcusable the way we threw it away. It's a proper bad, it's a proper bad match week for Barca in terms of how you drop points, and the way we did it was really frustrating. So yeah, I think obviously all of us are really annoyed right now. We have to beat Brest, we have to beat Las Palmas, and that's the way it is now, because this is it's not good. It's not good at all, honestly. The way we've dropped points against Celta really isn't.
Yeah, definitely a slip up. Points that should have been ours. We should have walked away with all 3 points there. Rafinha off the post. We were inches away from being up 3-0 and coasting to a victory. We'll get to the red card with Caso. We'll talk about some other points, but this should have been an easier match for us, and we kind of choked at the end there. But we are coming up on a run of fixtures that should be a little bit more secure for Barcelona. But yeah, I'm feeling the same way. If Real Madrid win their match today and win their match in hand, they'll be a point behind Barcelona, really put some heat on us. So yeah, like Leah said, it kind of undoes a bit of the progress that we made in October. What is different for you all? Is it just Lamine Yamal is out, or some of these clubs figuring out Barcelona? What do you think is the cause in the dip right now? Leah, I'm going to you first.
Yeah, I've been asked this a few times, and I honestly feel yes, Lamine Yamal has an impact, but it's bigger than that. It's the fact that Barcelona don't have any width on the wings. And when you have Lamine Yamal, who's out and is our only threat on that right wing position, and then Balde, who couldn't play against Celta Vigo, is out. He's our width on the left-hand side. We're playing too narrow. So it goes beyond Lamine Yamal and all these players. It's more of the fact that we do not have the players that we need to fill in certain positions, and we lack depth in those areas.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Pablo, what about you? What's your take on things?
I completely agree on that. I think we said that I think it was after the Real Sociedad game, and it was when we don't have Lamine. I don't think there's a player in the squad who recovers that in terms of what Leah says, they're the width or, taking on players. We think when we tried to put Fermin out there, that was a disaster against Real Sociedad. But even Ferran Torres, it's just not the same. Anyone who goes out there, it doesn't make up, what we lose from Lamine. Not just obviously player-wise, because of course he's brilliant, but width and, sort of what role they hold. I wonder if a bit of complacency's crept in. I've seen a lot more of a tired team, and I think Flick had some really harsh words in the press conference after the game. And I think he's maybe trying to give the players a bit of a kick to say, we've got to wake up here, because even though we've started brilliantly and maybe the team was feeling, this is really easy. Like we're dominating teams here. Like teams can't deal with us right now. And I think obviously that does get to you naturally, like subconsciously a little bit. When I think we were going into games thinking like we've got teams. Even from that second half against Espanyol, you could see just like after we were really rampant in the first half, like we just slipped off. We just slipped off. So there's got to be a bit of a reset. The good thing is about this draw is that I think it will give us that reset in terms of we have to wake up. We've lost a lot. We've just dropped all those points in 10 minutes there at the end of the game. So I hope we have a wake-up call. But I wonder if it's a bit of complacency. I really do. Just creeping into the team.
Yeah. I'm going to go to negative town right away. Which was the bigger mental error? Casado getting his second yellow or Koundé just gifting a goal for Celta Vigo?
I got my answer in this one. I love it, but it's Koundé. Casado, but he didn't do it in like the 20th something minute. Yeah. He did it when we had like the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes of the game. Like I don't know the exact time, but we were like 80th something minute. And obviously it ruins the team's mentality in a way. Regardless, you get a red card, but the team still had the team still could have defended better. They just weren't defending at all, and Koundé himself said that they could have won the game if it wasn't for his mistake, which ended up being costly.
Yeah. I completely agree. I for one was not fazed when Casalo got sent off at all, because exactly. I don't think it would have affected the game at all. Would Barca have given up a bit more possession? Yes. I give credit to Celta Vigo because I think even at 2-0 they kept pushing. A lot of teams just like go, they've got the second. We were doing because I thought they played well all game. Celta actually, we went on great, but once Lewandowski scores, I think a lot of teams go, come on, like they've done it again. Barca, like we can't do it. But I think Celta kept their mentality was really good. So credit to them, But even at 2-0 in the 80th minute, we were going to be absolutely fine with 10 men. Absolutely fine. And it was silly I don't know why he did it really. Just let him go, but we would have been fine. It's the error from Koundé. And Koundé actually decided at the end of the game that he wanted to speak. By the way, he came out and said, I want to talk to the media. And I think he was the only player from Gavi did as well, actually. But, in the inside post-match interviews, Koundé was the only one who came out and spoke. And I think he asked the press officer to do it himself. So he clearly is someone taking responsibility for the error, but it was a massive error and a massive lapse of concentration. I think just a moment before we conceded, the ball went out of play, but it was very close and he left it and let them play on, and we nearly conceded on that point. And I just thought, wake up, And then for the next play, him to just do that, I was like, what is going on with, what's happened here? Has someone done something to him? Why is he just falling asleep in the game? And it just, once it was 2-1, I don't know about you guys, but I knew it was going to be 2-2.
For me, I saw, as soon as in the second half, everything happened and Barcelona got that second goal, I'm like, they're going to either lose or they're going to draw the game. They just weren't, they weren't concentrating, and I don't want to be negative, but it's the way they were playing that just wasn't convincing. And I understand how the style of play is very demanding and very tiring. Keeping a high line like that, it involves a lot of running, but that's where the lack of depth comes in. That's where Hansi Flick has to figure out what to do in order to get these players to not get tired in the second half, because we're not even halfway through the season yet.
Yeah. I think I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me in the comments, but I'm looking at the stats from the match. Barcelona were offsides more than Celta Vigo in this match. We only caught them offside twice. And I don't know if it's because we had Martin / Fort in there instead of our regular back four. But it didn't feel like we were synced up. It didn't feel like we had our stuff in order in that back line.
No.
But regardless of the red card, you should be able to hold a 2-goal lead for 10 minutes with 10 men. Just bare minimum. If you want to win trophies, you have to be able to get yourself through those situations. 2-0 up, less than 10 minutes. I think it was the 82nd minute. Like Leah said, 82nd minute that Casado got sent off. You got to get through that. You absolutely have to be able to get through that. I wonder if it is tired minds by the end of the match that mistakes happen. And I also kind of wonder, because Barcelona for the last few years has kind of had a mentality problem. I wonder if that's our Achilles heel right now, is that when things start to go wrong, it just snowballs because people go, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, but it's also like it has happened in other games and they have come back from it this season. So it's like I'm not sure if that's the case or they're just simply like FIFA and UEFA have an issue with them for adding a bunch of games into the calendar. Like these, it's not even just Barcelona. If you look at other teams this season, like these players just simply can't run anymore. Like they're done, and it worries me because we're only in November. We're not even in January. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like for a lot of like teams this season, like, and especially for Barcelona, I don't know if it's like a mentality thing or more of like just the fact that their bodies, their muscles are just completely gone.
Yeah,
It's a fair shout.
Definitely. The product of football is getting worse because of the amount of games. One, a lot of big players are injured, so we're not seeing the best stars on our screens. And two, yeah, players are tired. You can tell players are tired and hobbling through games. You really can. But from a Barca point of view in this one, I mean, yeah, like you said, John, if you want to win the league, you have to win. You have to win in these moments. That's the big frustration for me. It wasn't a great game, and I think that's what the players were highlighting. They said, like, even when we were 2-0 up, we weren't happy with how we played, and we can't forget we should have been down to 10 men in the first half too, eh? You know, Jedad Martin should have been sent. I can't believe he wasn't sent off. I'm not going to lie, but we should.
I'm honest though. When I saw it, I was like, maybe it's the Barca bias kick again. But during the game, like after it, I was like, yeah, that should have been a second yellow. But when I was watching it, I was like, well, if you're already on a yellow card, like I understand, like the referee does not want to decide the game like on his own. So it's also like if that's gonna be like a second yellow, then it has to be more severe in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I also think it is a yellow card.
Yeah,
but that's
I think it's because of when it happened, and Leah, to your point, not wanting that to be the turning point in the match. If that tackle happened in the second half, I think it's a second yellow.
Yeah,
but I think because it was so close to the first challenge,
that is poor refereeing though. I hate when they do it like that. Like you've got to have more personality than that to be like, oh, I don't want to decide the game. You're the referee. You have to decide the game. You're the one who blows the whistle. You know, he has to send them off. They know we got away with one. Soto Grado has really been an Achilles heel, if you would say, for Barca in the last few years as well. So we got a bit of luck in our favour with him this time. But yeah, do you know what I mean? It just even going back to that point, it's just like it wasn't a great game, like, but it never really is in Balaidos. Like we know that Celta Vigo away. I think we'd won twice in our last 10 visits. Now it's twice in our last 11 visits there in all competitions, which is a scary stat actually.
Wow.
Quite a scary stat. So I was happy to. I know they're annoyed, the players in Flick, but I was quite happy to be like, yeah, we weren't great, but we've won 2-0. That's actually a really good result away from home. Like, well done, guys. We haven't got Lamine. First game after the international break. Survived a red card in the first half. I'll take that all day long. That's a great win in the league. That's what's annoying for me. I wasn't expecting the most ridiculous game because I know it's a tough place to go to, but we threw it away, which is really annoying.
Yeah, I wonder if coming back from the international break does have something to do with it. Like the last few years, I've certainly noticed it's a different Barcelona when we come back from a break. I think that last international break, we had a win afterwards. I forget who it was, but I remember not having to deal with that lull. But I wonder if that was more of the fluke, and this is kind of what we should expect coming back from an international break. A little bit sluggish, a little bit tired.
Yeah, it was Sevilla as well, John. Yeah, 5-1 was it? Yeah.
Oh, that was a good.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder if that's more of the exception. What did you all think? So we saw against who was it? In our last match, we saw some rotation because of Lamine out. And we had Fermin on that right wing, but stuck Rafinha out on the left. This time we had Olmo on the left, Rafinha on the right. What do you guys think of that in lineup in comparison?
I don't know. I feel like Olmo likes to go more centrally. Like he's a great player, but he likes to go in more centrally, and he just wasn't himself. The other day. So yeah, I don't know, but like it's also like Hansi Flick doesn't really have a choice. And it's like, I understand it. For me personally, I would have just done Paul Victor on the left, Rafinha on the right, and Daniel Olmo as the cam, in my opinion. But I understand, like, Paul Victor also sometimes has inconsistencies, and it's, like, unfair to him because he barely gets minutes. So would you really want to take that risk? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of been surprised that Paul Victor has not gotten more playing time. I trust Hansi and his assessment, but at the beginning of the season, I thought for sure he would get some time, particularly out on that left wing. But he seems to really just be a late substitute for Lewandowski right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know what we do because what I don't want to do is what we did against Celta. Like, that clearly didn't work. So Flick clearly didn't want to do that again with the Fedamine on the wing. So when I saw the lineup, I was like, that's the right decision to add another central midfielder in with Castelló and Pedri and move Olmo to the left, who can play on the left. He's played there for Leipzig and Spain quite a bit, but I do agree with Leah that he's a lot better in a central role. And then who you have on the left, yeah, I mean, Paul Victor's the only option, and clearly Flick doesn't trust him or doesn't feel that he'd do well enough on the left, I suppose. I mean, the last time he started on the left was against Osasuna, I think, in the end of September. I mean, that didn't work, did it, really massively? But we had Ferran and Paul Victor on the wing on those days. So, yeah, I mean, at the moment, we're in a bit of a sticky situation. I wonder if Lamin's not in the lineup on Tuesday, what he does if he keeps Olmo on the left again. I get the feeling he might. But I suppose a slight positive is Gavi, no?
I was happy that he got the start. That's why I'm wearing the shirt today. Little celebration of Gavi's first start coming back. I guess I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but I don't feel like he really stood out much. Am I wrong about that? I felt like he was a little bit.
I feel like the team as a whole didn't like really stand out, but it's like Gavi was definitely one of the better players, and he was playing as if he never had an ACL injury, which is very in character for him. And I feel like the connection with Pedri and Gavi, like they were both excellent in that midfield, switching positions with one another and like reading each other well. And they were definitely like one of the positive like things taking away from like the game.
Yeah,
no, I agree. I didn't think he was bad just because I'd heard that we shouldn't really be expecting much from Gavi until the new year, 2025, and I wasn't expecting him to start because in the cameos he's got so far, I've almost been like, I'm not even watching you to see if you do anything for us. I'm just like watching you to run around the pitch. You know, it didn't seem like he was contributing to the game at all. I thought against Celta Vigo, he contributed a bit more. And I mean, he had to obviously as a starter, but I just felt like he was a little more involved. I agree. Didn't look like he was massively playing as he's just come out from an ACL injury. So for me, that was a positive to see Gavi a little more fluid on the pitch, honestly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Standout for me was Rafinha again.
Yeah, of course.
I think Rafinha might have the best first touch while running at pace. Like, people underestimate how incredibly hard it is when you're sprinting down, getting that run in behind, and the ball's coming through to get that first touch and not have it be a heavy touch or a wide touch. Like, consistently now, he is getting an amazing first touch when he gets in behind to set himself up for these goals. Again, wish he could have finished the one later in the match off of his right boot. Flings off the woodwork there, would have put us up 3-0. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I do want to give Rafinha a shout out because I think he's still playing just lights out right now.
Yeah, Rafinha, for me, I just hope the team doesn't ruin it for him because he's having a great season. If he continues this is too early to call. If he continues the consistency, I am putting a Ballon d'Or shout for him. If this team ruins, there's other great players now, but Rafinha is definitely in my top 3 currently. If the team ruins like that for him, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be angry because he has been carrying and has been one of the most important players for Barcelona this season, and not just scoring, but creating and being a leader on that field for them. He has matured so much as a player, as a person, like just a great like player overall.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Do you all think, just with what we're seeing with Lamine out, does it make you think we need to sign another winger in the summer? I would say if you asked me a month ago, I'd be like, no, we're good. We got Lamine, we got Rafinha, we got some substitutes coming in, but overall, we don't need to bring in like a big name or somebody that's going to carry that load. I don't know if I feel the same way. How are you all thinking right now? Like, do we need some reinforcements on that wing in the summer?
You know what? It's a tough one though, because obviously you've got 2 starters really in Rafinha and Lamine. So who do you sign? Do you sign another starter? Because then that gets a bit difficult. No, like at least with Ferran Torres now, we know he's the understudy. But I suppose then you've got the problem of like you don't want to sub him in. Like you feel that when one of them's injured, the drop off is so big that you're like, there's almost no point having you as a sub. So that's a really difficult balance Barca have got to get, because if they sign someone who's just as good as them, then you just got a top performer just on the bench every week. Like that's always a tricky predicament in terms of signing like sub players, if you like.
Yeah, Leah, you were shaking your head. Yes. What are you thinking?
It's a tricky situation given the financial situation of the club.
Yeah.
And like obviously there's a lot of names coming out, especially for that left wing position, like Leao and Nico Williams trying for him again. And like it's the problem is they're not gonna accept a secondary role. And it's like if you have to be cautious with the way you spend your money or else you're gonna be like going through a financial problem again. So you can't spend it recklessly. If you're gonna sign somebody, then it like better be like a smart amount where if that player doesn't play, it doesn't end up being like costly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And to that point, I don't know how smart it would be to invest heavy on a left winger who's going to be sharing some time versus, we may not need it next year, but probably by the year after, we're going to need to replace Lewandowski. And I think that's where we're going to need to splash some cash because you can't just replace anybody with Lewandowski or can't replace Lewandowski with just anybody. And that's going to have to be somebody that's more prolific that can come in and hit the ground running. So that's where we need to put some money into it. We need to find the 2024, 2025 version of Pedro who can start, can come off the bench, will score in big matches, but doesn't need to be the consistent starter week in, week out. I don't know who that person is. I think they're out there somewhere, but I do think we need to figure that out because unfortunately, Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, it's not the move. We need somebody that's going to give us some confidence, give us that spark coming off the bench. But I don't know. I don't know who that's going to be. I don't think we're going to bring in a Rafael Leao or a Nico Williams. I don't think it'll be a big name.
Yeah, this is why I say, like, if you need something, La Masia will provide. And I know it's, like, weird to say, because, like, we already have so many youngsters, and, like, if you want youngsters, you're gonna have to understand they're going to make mistakes, like what Casado did the other day. But it's also, like, the youngsters make the most sense because they work their way up to be on the first team. They don't mind being a substitute, and, like, they will put everything on the line to help out the club. So, at least for now, that makes the most sense to me, if there's anybody, really, in the academy right now.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. That could actually be a good transition. So something I wanted to talk about since we were playing Celta Vigo, 3 former Barcelona players in their starting 11. They had Mingueza, Mariba, Alonso, and Europe across the board has a lot of players that maybe didn't make it into Barcelona's first team or came to Barcelona, didn't quite work out and left. So it makes me wonder what names come to mind when you all think about former Barcelona players, La Masia or otherwise, that you wish would have stuck around Barcelona a little bit longer than they did. Who comes to mind? Leah, I'll go to you first.
Nico Gonzalez.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
He was good. It's just he wasn't getting minutes. Like, there was no issue with his ability. Barcelona needed money, and he was going to be a substitute anyways. But he was good, and I'm hearing he's doing a lot of good things where he's at right now, and he had the proper mentality. He scored goals, so I probably say him.
Yeah, and a big physical player too, which sometimes we miss out on. That's a good shout.
Nico was my boy. Yeah, he was good.
Pablo, who you got? Who comes to mind?
I've actually got quite a few. Where do I begin? What do you want? What do you want from me? How many do you want?
Give me one. We'll keep going one by one until we.
Okay, I'm going to start with the one that started all of our problems, the prince of football, the man who should have been the best player in the world. You don't like this, do you, John? Neymar?
Oh. No. So I have a lot of mixed feelings.
I know you do. I know you do.
You are right. You are right.
You do.
You're right.
I know you do.
If you go to the Undefeated Mustache John YouTube channel, which is not in production right now, but if you scroll all the way back to the first video, you will see a very poorly produced video of me complaining about Neymar rumors coming back to Barcelona. I am not putting him in the same boat as Vinny Jr. because Vinny Jr. is next level. I hate the attitude. I hate his nonsense, but the diving, the flopping around, like all of that, I hated having to defend Neymar for that.
Really?
I would have accepted it. I would have accepted it if he would have stayed, right? It's not as egregious as Vinny Jr. My hatred is not on that level by any means. I will concede that you are right. It would have been better for the club and the player if Neymar would have stayed.
And the transfer market.
And the transfer market. It really did. It created this inflation in football that we've never recovered from.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
There are a lot of things in football that I let go, I think the Neymar sale is the one that I can never let go. It actually upsets me every time I see it. Genuinely, yeah. I can't believe it. For me, it's the biggest what if and the biggest disaster and the worst decision that's been made in the 21st century in recent football. I can't believe it. This guy had everything and he was perfect and the fans loved him, and also, we just don't have footballers like Neymar anymore. I remember I used to turn on the Barca games and I used to absolutely love it. He was so good on the left. Oh, I can't believe he went. Genuinely, it's just the biggest disaster, and it led to all of the nightmare for Bartomeu. He absolutely collapsed his whole management when he lost Neymar.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys watch the Neymar documentary that was on? I think it was on Netflix.
I've been told a bit about it. I really should, yeah. But go on.
Leah, you watched it. Did it get into any of the details, behind the scenes of the decision making of that transfer?
I watched it, I forgot when it came out, but it's been a while. But I remember something about how he did want to come back, but PSG were just not letting him. And I don't know if it mentions how his family or his dad. I don't know if that was in the documentary or if it's outside information that were kind of pushing him to stay with PSG. But I did hear something 2018, 2019, how he was really trying to come back and PSG just blocked any move, which at the end of the day, he did it to himself. He knew PSG were not going to let him go after spending that much on him, but I don't know. I can't at one point, I really wish he stayed, but on another point, you made the decision. Now you got to live with it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think he does say in the documentary about all of that. I think what was the game that did it for him? It was the 6-1, I think it was, where he dragged Barcelona from hell to heaven, basically, from nightmare to euphoria, and all the front covers were about Messi and the little photo within the fans. And I think he thought, I've literally dragged this club out of the depths. The free kick when we were dead, takes charge for the penalty. The ball into Sergio Roberto on his left foot is a disgrace. And then it's all Messi. And I think that's when he realized here, I will never be like Neymar Jr., who I want to be. I'll never be the best player in the world here, which I personally believe is completely wrong. I believe he would have won the Ballon d'Or at Barcelona several occasions, which is the worst, which is why it was a big decision. But he's obviously thought, get me to PSG, get me on the Eiffel Tower, and just make me the product of Paris and football. I'm the guy now, and he's obviously just seen the limelight. I think his dad, it was Leah, who actually wanted him to stay, but his dad never convinced me as a character. I don't know what he was, but
the issue is with that is that he went to PSG thinking he's going to be the star, but instead Mbappe was the star, and they created the whole team around Mbappe. Which personally, I think if they built the team around Neymar, they probably could have won a Champions League. Me personally, but that's an unpopular opinion, and I'm not hitting on Mbappe. I still think he's a great player, but that's just the way I feel.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think Neymar's a player who can win you a Champions League. I'm not sure Mbappe is. Yeah.
One that comes to mind for me is Thiago, who left during the Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets era because not enough playing time. Another player that recognized that if he ever wanted to really fulfill his potential, had to go elsewhere. So had a fantastic career with Bayern Munich and others. And I think that's one that if he could have just been a little bit more patient, if he would have been a little bit willing to, not get as much playing time, I think that would have been good for Barcelona. But he had a great career in his own right. I would say fared much better than some of the other players that left Barcelona a little bit too early. Leah, you got another one?
Who else we got?
Arthur Melo. That swap.
Ooh.
I feel like he was good, but obviously he could have improved even more, but he wasn't even given I feel a fair chance, because he had everyone was shocked about that swap.
Yeah.
Me too. I don't understand why they did it. I think it was a bad decision for both Barca and Juve.
Yeah, that was one that stood out to me as like, how does this make any sense for Barcelona? You're bringing in an older version of an Arthur Melo that you're going to have to pay more money to. It just didn't connect for me whatsoever.
Money laundering, my friend.
We're going to edit that out.
Yeah.
Pablo, who's another one on your list?
The man you mentioned earlier, actually, John Pedro, because I think Pedro became what's the word for it? A victim of MSN, obviously, where he was like, I can't compete with the MSN, obviously, but Pedro was a great player, and in any other team would have started, and I think he was still at a good enough level. When he went to Chelsea, he was class, won the league with Chelsea, played a massive part in it.
Yeah.
And European trophies later as well. So he was a big player for Barca and still very good in 2015. So I think that was one that went on a lesser scale. Munir up front, I always thought Munir was a good sub striker. Like speaking of like, well, we think we're missing a bit of that maybe right now. We're missing a bit of a Munir right now. Munir and Sandro as well in the 2014-15 season. Those boys,
I like Sandro. Yeah.
Those boys off the bench. You know what I mean? Because they came up through the youth ranks, didn't cost anything. They didn't need any minutes, but they actually delivered off the bench. They delivered and won points to Barca off the bench. And when you brought them in for cup games or league lesser games, they scored goals too. So that's actually what we need right now. So I thought both of those could have done it. And I think we made a mistake selling Munir and buying Alcacer in 2016, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I'm gonna carry suit there with the wingers, and I think honestly, if we had him this year, I think it would be perfect. Take Kubo.
Ooh, that's
a very
he's still only 23 years old. I thought he was older than that because he's been a little bit of a journeyman now around La Liga. But Take Kubo, I think honestly, let's grab him in the summer. That could be the guy,
I don't know if he'll want to leave, but
yeah.
He is a class player. He's one of the best in La Liga, by the way. He's a very good player, Kubo. I'm a big fan.
He's very tricky, very crafty.
Oh.
He's fun to watch.
Very good,
and in terms of getting increasing our brand, bringing in some eyes from different countries, you know what I mean? It makes sense. Shout out for Take Kubo returning in 2025. Back to you, Leah. You got anybody else on your list?
I mean, I could right now. The only person I could really think of is Aubameyang, but like I understand why he left because he would have been back up to Lewandowski. But it's like I wish he stayed because the 6 months that he had in Barcelona were great, like a really great 6 months.
Yeah. Aubameyang is a good one. He was a class player. Who else am I thinking? I'll tell you what, Mingueza himself wouldn't have been a bad player to have around. By the way,
yeah,
he's a great player. Isn't he? He's with the national team now, but.
Yeah, I think the only reason he left because he had beef with Coleman.
He had beef apparently with Xavi.
He went with Xavi. He went under Xavi.
Really?
He went under Xavi. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was earlier than that.
After yesterday's game, it goes to show that some players are just not up. Like he's been having a great season, but yesterday he was not having a great game. And it goes to show that sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it doesn't. This is not hate towards Mingueza because he's great, but like sometimes you're just not up to be on the first team for Barcelona, and that's fine.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. My last one, well, I shouldn't say last one, but last one I got for this list is Samuel Eto'o.
Oh,
He's my favorite striker of all time, and he had a few more years left that he could have stuck around Barcelona, but just again having beef with the manager, he and Pep just didn't get along. He gets swapped out for a Zlatan Ibrahimovic who kind of flops at Barcelona. I think we would have had another Champions League or two if we would have kept Eto'o.
Yeah, it's always Pepe. He's got problems, that bloke. Eh?
Yeah, for sure. Before we move on from this, I do want to, because I know Buga is going to be listening to this. I want to give a little hipster shout out, Franck Kessié. I'll get on that train.
Okay.
Franck Kessié, we could have been used right now.
What about one more who was harshly treated? Disagree with me if you like. I think Malcolm was harshly treated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? Because I'm not saying he was ridiculously good, but he got given like the most pity minutes I've ever seen. And I thought in those minutes, he actually delivered quite well. He was a tricky, exciting winger, and Valverde just wasn't having it with him at all. He was actually I think Flick would have used him a lot, can I just say? A lot.
Very similar profile to Rafinha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good shout. I'm with you on that. Okay. All right. The shoulda, woulda, couldas, as they say. So that was fun. Let us know in the comments, of course, if you got some players that come to mind that maybe never really broke through from La Masia or a quick come and go from Barcelona. Let us know who you would have liked to keep around wearing that Blaugrana. We'd love to hear from you. Are we ready to move on to some Barcelona Brest preview then? You guys get your minds out of the gutter, you guys. Oh my goodness.
That. I was just laughing.
Oh, really?
Where Barcelona has been lately. I can't even bring myself into that mentality.
Oh, I was laughing. I was laughing about Barcelona Brest preview. Like, yeah, let's preview them.
We've never claimed to have a high maturity level on this podcast. All right, that is not one of the things that you will get here. But yeah, Barcelona taking on Brest on Tuesday, and so I jump over to the UCL table, and Brest are sitting at the top. Well, not the top, but they're in fourth right now. Like that's insane to me. Granted, they haven't had the too many tough opponents, but they did get the draw against Leverkusen. Are we worried about this going in? Should we be concerned? Leah, what do you think?
I am worried because of like the way Barcelona played against Celta Vigo. Like this is not the ideal situation to go into that game. But I will say Brest, I've heard in like Ligue 1, I don't know where they are, but they're like not like
I think they're in like 12th or something like that.
Yeah.
They're playing well in Champions League, but not in Ligue 1. But yeah, I don't know. Like I have confidence in Barcelona. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Hopefully, I don't regret saying that. But I don't know. I don't even know how to feel. I feel like yesterday's defeat, it feels like a defeat, but yesterday's draw literally took everything out of me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it for me, the Celta Vigo match, it's points dropped. You know what I mean? And it is kind of funny how the match plays out. Definitely influences how you feel afterwards. Like if we were down 2-0 and came back and got those points, we'd be like, okay, away from home against an opponent that we've kind of struggled with in recent years. Wow, what a way to fight back and get a point there. But leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So, Pablo, what do you think? Or is there reason for concern going into this match?
I think we're gonna beat Brest. I'm actually quite comfortable. I'm quite confident. Sorry, I really am. I just think I know they've been really strong in the Champions League, and clearly they're one of those teams who have said, lads, we're in the Champions League this season. Forget the league. Like every Champions League game, we are going with 110%. So just watch out for that because that's clearly the mentality they've got right now. But like, if you are losing that many games in Ligue 1, there's absolutely no excuse why we shouldn't be beating them uncomfortably. And I think we will. I don't know, 3-1, maybe 4-1. I think we'll beat Brest. Actually, I am quite confident at home as well. I'm expecting a reaction after what Flick said, and the players are clearly frustrated and down. So I'm expecting quite a fierce reaction and a comfortable win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and we'll get to predictions, of course. I'm curious what we're thinking for a lineup. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a slightly easier run of things. We got Brest on Tuesday, we got Las Palmas coming up next weekend, and then we got Mallorca. Real Betis will give us a challenge, and then we get into Dortmund and Leganés. But no big clubs coming up here in the near future. So are we going in with a strong lineup? Are we going to see some rotations? I know obviously injuries are kind of limiting our options here, but I'm curious what we're thinking for a starting 11. So maybe we can jump into that and build out our team here.
Yeah. Well, Iñaki Peña goal. I think that's kind of sorted out. Chesney hasn't gotten minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah. Can we pause right there?
Yeah.
Do we think Chesney's gonna get minutes at some point? Like, are we waiting for Copa del Rey or something like that?
My prediction is Copa del Rey Super Cup, and I get it because why destroy Iñaki Peña's confidence when he's doing so well against Celta Vigo? He had an incredible performance. Those two were not his fault.
He did,
games. So.
No, that was harsh of us not to have mentioned Iñaki Peña this pod, by the way.
Yeah,
because he was one of Barca's best players.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think we are overlooking Peña a little bit, and I'll say his turnaround in performance and mentality and just confidence since Chesney came in and wasn't given the starting role when it was Peña's to keep. I think that was the kind of experience he needed to feel like, okay, this club does back me, and I can do this. Because it's been a different Pena. I mean, we saw it in the Real Madrid match, the Bayern Munich match, and just consistently since then. I think he's been a different player. So yeah, shout out to Pena. He definitely starts. Who do you thinking for a back four, Leah?
I think for me personally, it would be Koundé as the right back, Kubarsi and Nico Martinez as the two center backs, and then for the left back position, if Balde isn't available, I put in Fort, and I maybe not want to risk it with Balde just because like he did come from a big injury, came in the summer, he's been playing nonstop. Maybe just let Hector Fort play because Hector Fort did impress me against Celta Vigo.
Pablo,
I completely agree.
Any changes there?
No, that'll be my back four. That'll be my back four for this game for sure.
Yeah, it does make me. I was gonna say Gerard Martin's performance does give me a lot of hesitancy, and I think the mistakes that he was making from a decision-making standpoint, that second challenge that could have been sent off, we can't have that in this match coming up. So, yeah, I would go Fort. I almost wonder if it's worth... There's no chance of going with a back three, right? And putting in an extra midfielder. We haven't seen that at all from Barcelona, but...
No, I feel like he relies on the fullbacks for more width. Yeah. And like doing the three center backs, I don't think it'll work out that way.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. Okay. So we agree on that back four then.
Yeah.
What about this is where it'll get interesting. What about the midfield three? Leah, I'm curious who you'd go for in this match, and I'm also kind of curious like who your preferred midfield three is now that things are kind of shaking out and we're getting players back from injury.
When everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this match against Brest, like I don't even know. Hansi Flick must have a headache. I don't even know how he's there. Casado, Pedri. Do we count Rafinha as a cam, or do we count it more as like a left wing, right wing? That's the.
I think he's on the table as a cam. He's playing more on the wings right now, but I think that's because we have so many options in the midfield. But like earlier in the season when he was playing as a cam, I'm okay with that. And back to an earlier conversation, if we do end up bringing in a left winger in the summer, I don't think that immediately means that Rafinha's out. I think Rafinha could easily play as that cam number 10 position.
Yeah, I don't know. For the purpose of this, I'm gonna keep Rafinha as like a left wing, right wing, whatever I decide. But for now, I'm gonna put like I guess. Dani Olmo. Gavi played great, but I'm just like, I don't like, he already played almost a full 90 minutes. I don't want to risk him right now.
Okay. So you're going Casado, Pedri, and Olmo for the midfield three. Okay. Pablo, where's your head at?
For me, that is our best midfield. If it was a Champions League final tomorrow, that's our best midfield three for me with everyone fit. Casado, Pedri, Olmo, I think. But I think in this game, again, I have to keep Olmo as a winger with Rafinha and Lewandowski. And for me, that means that in midfield, I agree I wouldn't play Gavi again. So I do Casado, who of course can't play against Las Palmas, Pedri, and then it's either plus Frenkie de Jong or Fermin. And I think I'd go Fermin for energy in midfield. So I think I'm going to put Fermin.
What about Pablo Torre, though?
Yeah, Pablo Torre is actually quite harshly treated. I don't know. We've got so many options. Honestly, I just can't see him playing.
That's fair. I would still probably play him. I think ahead of Fermin at the moment.
Wow,
just
really?
I love Fermin. I think he's great, but Pablo Torre I feel like has been more consistent.
Yeah,
and it's fair because Fermin came back from an injury, but Pablo Torre I feel like adds more of like what Dani Olmo does.
Yeah, and
Fermin is like very like power, energy that we need. I feel like more as like in the second half when Barcelona need a
yeah.
Ooh, I'm really torn. I really am. I wish we had one more winger that we could rely on, because I think while Dani Olmo can play on that left wing, he's far better playing centrally and finding those gaps in between the lines.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So Yes, Casa though, because he's not going to be playing on the weekend, and he's been our most consistent midfielder.
Yeah.
Pedri has to be in there. I almost. Oh. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Casa though, Frankie, Pedri.
Ooh.
I think.
It's quite defensive. It's quite defensive. That is my only thing. Like,
Yeah, but we'll get a lot of possession.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll be able to play the Barcelona way. I'm backtracking. I want Dani Olmo centrally.
Wow.
I'm gonna shake things up.
And then
I'm gonna shake things up. I'm gonna go Casillo, Pedri, Dani Olmo, and then to jump to the front line. I know Fermin put in a stinker of a match playing on the right wing. I think if we put him on the left-hand side, he'll play much better.
I agree.
So I'm gonna go for my front three. I'll go Fermin on the left, Lewandowski centrally, Rafinha on the right.
I have no disagreements with that because didn't Fermin play as like a false left wing under Xavi and it worked? I just think it's some players just they need to be on one side of the field and that's just the way it works for Fermin. So just put him on the left and call it a day.
Yeah, I think he performs a lot better being able to make those runs cutting in on his right foot as opposed to having to beat the player, get in a right foot cross or cut inside on his left if he's playing on the right-hand side. Pablo?
I mean, I stick with what I'll go for. I'll stick with what I'm going to go for. I think De Jong's in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment because it's almost like no one really wants to play him. But I do think he starts against Las Palmas in Casal's absence, obviously. But yeah, I think he'll probably be on the bench again this week. And I'd imagine that he'll keep Olmo on the wing with Rafinha, I think, but we'll see.
Okay, so who's your front three then?
My front three is Olmo, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and then Fermin, Pedri, and Casado on midfield.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Either one works. Maybe if Fermin and Olmo are both out there, obviously they can rotate a bit and kind of share that either 10 or left wing role. I'll be very curious what Flick goes with, and I wonder if the results against Celta Vigo are going to influence that at all. If he's going to look to send a message to any of the players because of their performance, or if it's just going to be a, hey, I'm going to chew everybody out and send you back out there kind of incident. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, let us know down in the comments who would be let us know who's your preferred starting 11, but then also what you think Hansi is going to go with, because there's some options there. So we'll see. But that's coming up on Tuesday. Predictions wise, Pablo, you were saying what, like 3-1, 4-1?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.
Let's lock in a prediction.
I'm going 3-1.
3-1 from Pablo. Okay. Who's your goal scorers?
Lewandowski is going to get 2 and Rafinha's going to get 1. I know that's that's out there from me. That's out
on a limb.
That's out of the box. That's very out of the box.
Yeah,
love that. Leah, what's your prediction?
I don't even know. I'm between like a 2-1 or a 3-1. I think I'm gonna go with 1, just because I feel like they're gonna concede, knowing them. But I do feel like they're gonna want to bring back that mentality in order to get through the rest of the season. Yeah. And for goal scorers, I feel like Rafinha. I kind of want to say Pedri and Lewandowski, but I also feel like Lewandowski may not score and Rafinha may get a brace. So I'm kind of in between that right now.
Okay. Ooh. I'm going to go big. I'm going to say 4-0 Barcelona.
Mustache job.
That's great.
Yes, indeed. Coming in hot. 4-0 to Barca. I'm going to say a brace from Lewandowski. I'm going to say 1 from Dani Olmo. I want to say Inigo Martinez, but it's unlikely that he'll continue to score because he's got 2 Champions League goals now, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody unexpected is going to score. Maybe a Pau Victor off the bench. Right? We go up 3-0. It's later in the match. Pau Victor comes on, gets a little cameo appearance with a little Golski. I think it could happen. So 4-0 to Barca, Lewandowski brace, Almo goal, Pau Victor goal off the bench.
Lovely.
I like the
Lock it in. Okay. I think that just about does it, folks.
Yep.
Did a little Celta Vigo breakdown. Talked about players that we wish stayed at Barcelona. Little match preview and predictions for Barcelona Brest coming up. Any final thoughts?
Barcelona, don't let us down. That's all.
Yeah. Don't let us down.
The final thoughts are we need, between now and the time we do the next podcast, which will be next Sunday, we have to have beaten Brest and Las Palmas. Have to. Has to be 6 points.
Yes.
3 in each competition. Has to be. We have to win these 2 games for sure. At home.
Yeah. Amen to that. All right. Before we get out of here, Leah, where can the people find you?
You could find me on my TikTok and on my Instagram, which is simply my name, Leah Binkin, LiaBinkin.
Love it. Okay. Well, folks, thanks for listening. Again, let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Give us your questions, your comments, your concerns going into this match. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and come back next Monday for another episode of Mes que un podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody.